Hi guys, welcome back to the J Lounge. Of course, you guys know I got Tyler and Andy here. We are here to resume our interview. I was just about to get ready to ask the number 5 question. Of course, Mr. Andy, going to start off with you. Where can the J Lounge audience follow you guys in your work?
Yeah, so the easiest way to find us is on YouTube. Do a search for Your Lame Friends, or go to watch.yourlamefriends.com. That'll get you to everything we have that's currently produced, as well as some of our older stuff, the Big Fish commercials we were talking about, Glitch the Show, some of our other little projects that we've done. And then you can follow us on social media. At Twitter, we're just at Your Lame Friends. We also have presence on Instagram and TikTok and Reddit and all that stuff, but nothing's really happening there. We don't spend a lot of time there right now. If you help grow the community, of course, we will probably spend more time there. But that being said, the best place to see us, I think, is Twitter and YouTube.
All right, Mr. Tyler, the same question to you.
I mean, it's the same answer because at this point we're doing all of our stuff more or less together.
Yes.
Your Lame Friends is a YouTube show where we started it during the quarantine, kind of during the height of it, and the show, we exist in a place called the Murder Shed. Like, the outside of it's just this rundown, cruddy little shed, and the inside of it is a really nice looking nerd set. And the whole premise of the show is, like, there's an apocalypse outside, and so we're never leaving. So we're just going to sit in here and talk about movies and video games and make jokes and stuff. And so it's a pretty simple, straightforward, and stripped down concept, but we have some interesting conversations and a lot of humor from ourselves talking, and the edit itself is pretty funny. And so we're really proud of that, and that's the thing that we're working hard on. And like Andy said, everything that we've done together, and some stuff we've done alone, apart from each other. I mean, we're never really alone because we always have each other. But the stuff that we've done apart from each other, I think, is on there too. But everything that we have done together is also in the archive on Your Lame Friends. It used to exist in other places, and we just pulled it all into one central location. So if anybody thinks that we're talking about a movie and that we don't know what we're talking about, you can go prove it to yourselves that we don't by looking at our previous work.
Oh, absolutely. And of course, I highly encourage my audience, make sure you guys follow Andy and Tyler on all social media platforms. Show them some love, show them some support. Like I said, they are from my hometown of Brook Orchard, so make sure you guys go and give them support. All right, going on to the number 6 question, gentlemen. It's never too late to still have goals to reach in our careers. So what goals do you guys still hope to accomplish in your guys' career?
For me, I've got my personal goal is to do film full time. Currently, I am sort of dual specking in both film and tech work. I don't find tech work terribly fulfilling, so my dream is to do film full time. And they say never dream to do what you love full time because you'll eventually hate it. I've done film full time for a little stint, and I don't think that's true. Partly because of the problem solving nature of film. I don't think it's ever really boring. As a group, I feel like our goal, and Tyler, you can either confirm or deny this. This might be a surprise to you. I don't know. Our goal is to get enough of a following to be able to self-produce a feature film. In Port Orchard, we have a number of ideas, but ultimately we don't want to go out and just do a blind Kickstarter and fund a film that way. We want to have people who believe in us and who know what we do and who know the quality we can deliver actually back us because they think we're going to create a good product. That's how I would prefer doing our first fully funded feature, and that's our ultimate goal, I think, is to create a feature film here in the Pacific Northwest.
Mr. Tyler, same question to you.
Yeah, I would say it's the same answer, more or less, that Andy just said. I would prefer to be working in this industry full time. Like he said, we have both together and separately for stints done exclusively film for an income, and it was pretty wonderful and fulfilling. We haven't quite got to sustain that long term, so I think that's probably a goal, like Andy said, even just an individual goal that we both happen to share. And then, I still write scripts and submit them to contests and agents and queries and all that stuff. So there's that. But yeah, no, I think Andy's right. We almost got to make $1 million movie in 2017, and it didn't really work out for reasons that weren't our fault. But stuff happens in this industry, and so we got really close. And we would like to make good on that kind of commitment to ourselves. And I totally agree with Andy that Kickstarter and GoFundMe and stuff is kind of not the avenue that we want to go. One of the reasons that we're doing a YouTube show, I guess it's like the dual thing. Like one way that could go is, like Andy said, developing an audience that might help us on some level with promotion or funding for a bigger project. But then the other thing is we could totally use the fun that we're having on YouTube and then coming on podcasts like this and stuff, just to make connections and meet people and maybe open doors and initiate opportunities that avenue too. So it's not like we're saying that we're hoping our YouTube show becomes financially successful. We don't really care how it becomes a thing that might lead to other work, but I think that's ultimately our goal. Yeah.
Love it. Well, those are great goals to have, you guys. And yes, to build a following, to have people believe in what you guys do, and have the funding come that way is more organic. And I totally get it, because sometimes Kickstarter, it's just weird asking random people for money for a project. So it is kind of weird. So I do think the avenue that you guys are going is going to be a lot better, and like I said, a lot more organic, and you'll just get more of a better following that way. So
yeah,
we here at the Jane Lounge definitely support you guys. Like I said, I am honored to talk to you guys. I didn't even know you guys were here in my own backyard, so this is great. So yeah. So, but going on to the number 7 question, starting with you, of course, Andy. What passion do you have outside of your voice acting and filming?
So outside of film, my biggest passions are, I love video gaming. I love retro gaming. I love old hardware, restoring old hardware, fixing things. I do a lot of, my day job is computer work. So I do a lot of computer work. I like photoshopping. Regardless of what app you use, it's photoshopping. So I'm not going to get into the semantics there, but I like making funny images. And apart from that, pretty normal stuff. Just I like reading when I can, which isn't as frequently as I wish. I like watching movies. I like watching other entertainment when I can. Unfortunately, one of my hobbies does seem to be rewatching a lot of stuff instead of finding new stuff. I wish that wasn't the case, but it's comfort. I like cooking. I like art of various types. I like sculpting a little bit. I don't do it as much as I'd like, but just the normal sort of Joe junk people do when they're not working.
I love it. I am a huge cooker, and watching movies, just rewatching the same ones I watch all the time. It just doesn't matter. It's a comfort for me. So I'm right there with you on that. Mr. Tyler, same question goes to you.
I'm a big fan of history.
Yes.
So I like reading books, watching documentaries, YouTube channels that are historic in nature. That's a big thing of mine. I really like architecture and woodworking, but I wouldn't really say I'm a big video game person. I play some, but Andy's way more into that, and he is about the kind of old hardware stuff too. I really find that stuff interesting, but it's a real passion of his. So yeah, no, outside of film and writing, I don't know, girls. I'm pretty basic. Yeah.
Love it. He's like pretty basic, you know. Hey, ain't nothing wrong with that. So, all right, love it, love it. All right, we just got a couple more questions for you guys. Going back to you, Mr. Andy. If you get a chance to develop more for your filmmaking, what stories do you hope to continue to tell?
So one of the things that I like doing, and I feel like one of the reasons Tyler and I work so well together is we see film as a great way to take simple stories with really complex undertones and tell them in a way that allows that complexity to come through in a consumable and interesting way. We had a pilot we were working on for a show we wanted to do in Capitol Hill called Gentrified, which was basically it was a show about these people who moved into Capitol Hill in the 90s, not realizing they gentrified Capitol Hill in the 90s when all the white art kids moved in. So it was going to tell the story of the tech companies now pushing out all of these kids who got into Capitol Hill sort of on their parents' money in the 90s when it became this art hub during the grunge explosion. And the idea was to tell a story in 3 tiers, where you had the tier that was going on in front of the camera, basically telling a story that had the subtext of sort of the problematic nature of tech companies driving up costs of living. And I work in tech, so I work with a lot of these people who will come into Seattle and say, "Oh, $3,000 a month is nothing. I'll pay that for a
Right.
1-bedroom," and it basically is pushing people out of affordable housing. But then the subtext is, in the background of that was a story of the people who were pushed out by the sort of recreational bohemianism of the 90s grunge movement.
Well, like the waves of gentrification.
Yes, the waves of
gentrification. The joke of the whole thing was it was a bunch of white kids complaining about the gentrification of the tech companies. And so that was like 1/3 of the story. And then another third of the story was the gay community that the white kids had displaced. And then another third of the story was the black community that the gay community had displaced. And so as you kept going farther into the story, all of the complaints about gentrification became incoherent. And so the whole thing was a satire about how, you on the surface, people are complaining today about things like history started 4 months ago, as opposed to,
Right. So, one of the and the term I don't feel is an age term, so I'm going to use it, even though a lot of people do feel it's ageist. But boomer mentality, to me, it's one of those things where you say, well, why don't you just skip a latte and then you can buy a house? That's just not true, So we are showing. We wanted to show 100% the actual real and true issues with sort of the mentality of looking at millennials in particular.
Because the white people that we were making fun of, like the white people that we're making fun of because they're complaining about the tech companies gentrifying their places, like we're making fun of them and satirizing them because of the other more marginalized communities that kind of came before them. But we were still going to take the complaints that they were making really seriously. Like we are all going to work until we die without the ability to retire. We're not going to be able to afford housing, like to buy houses. No wonder a community like Capitol Hill can become kind of insular and afraid of change. We're not going to be able to buy our own houses. So like the community that we're in, we're probably just going to live and die there renting. Like, so that we were making fun of those like little white boys from Amazon but we were also going to be using it to like highlight how messed up it is right now. I don't know. I really liked that idea. And
It was a great
explanation point. You forgot the explanation point on gentrified.
Oh yes, exclamation point, because it's
Gentrified.
But we do that with a lot of our ideas. We have a horror movie that we're working on. The premise is so simple. A kid gets a really good deal on a video game console that he shouldn't get, and on the video game console is a kill list from a murderer. Very simple, right? So the idea is we don't want to get into the weeds on the premise. It's the execution where we think most of the best art happens. So you make a premise that's easy to understand, that's easy to invest in, that's really easy to get your head around. You know, that's, I think, where the kinds of stories I like to tell personally, and I don't want to speak for you, Tyler, but the kinds of stories I like to tell personally are ones that are very relatable, but often get told in ways that are uninteresting.
Gotcha. Oh my goodness. I love all of that though. I love the horror film. That really captured my attention. So I really hope that continues with developments, because that sounds like that would be a really good one. Which brings me actually to my next question, actually, gentlemen. The number 9 question: what future projects are you guys involved with currently that you guys can share with the Game Lounge audience?
So I can say that I'm going to be on an upcoming episode of Three Busy Debras, but I can't say which one or in what capacity. I can say there's a few voice projects that are still NDA that I can't talk about. But personally, we obviously have more of the YouTube show. We're in a lull right now because we've got just a lot of turmoil, and it's a million degrees.
Yes.
So, but we've got plenty of stuff on the backlog. Tyler and Taylor are absolute. It sounds bad to say workhorses, but you guys are killing it. You're doing so much work. So they're working their asses off to keep our production schedule moving. But we do have a lot of future stuff. We talked about it briefly right before we got cut off, but we have an extra natural, a beautiful extra natural coming of age story. Again, simple story. What is it like going home? What is it like coming of quarter life age? What is it like coming of middle age? What is it like coming of old age? So we have 3 coming of age stories sort of mixed in, which is very, very simple, relatable problems. But we add this just extra natural little piece that gives the whole thing this beautiful ethereal air. And really, it's one of the most beautiful projects I've ever seen. Tyler wrote it and brought us the script, and it was tears, it was laughs, it was just gorgeous. And that's something I hope to continue. That's the one that the budget fell through on. We almost got made. Yeah, we almost got that one made. So it's still definitely out there. And then I'll let Tyler talk about some of the amazing stuff he's got in the pipe, because it's really good.
Yes, Tyler.
Sure. Well, okay. Let's talk about the Your Lame Friends YouTube channel for just a minute, because we are, like Andy said, we're working pretty hard on that, because an episode of that can take like a couple of 100 hours to edit. It's insane. It's an insane amount of work. We have a bunch of different little shows on the Your Lame Friends thing that people that dig movies will find interesting. One is called Deep in the Amazon, and this is the concept behind that show is, I'm sure you're aware that on Amazon Prime, there's like 1 million movies that they just bought for $1 each, and no one's ever heard of any of them. And it's just this insane back catalog from 1960 to 2021 of these weird, obscure movies that people made for $5 and Amazon bought for $6. And so the premise of Deep in the Amazon is we go to Amazon Prime, and the first movie that, based on the picture and the title, none of us have ever heard of before, we have to watch it. It doesn't matter what that is. And so then it's a Mystery Science Theater reaction and discussion show, like where we critically analyze it, tease it, praise it if it's good. It's a lot of fun. So there's that. And then there's a thing called property versus property, where we get randomly assigned two different franchises and figure out how they would fight, or like one movie could get made out of the two different franchises, and it's sort of us making fun of mashup culture. And then we have something called Pitch Imperfect, and the concept there is just like, we spend our excess energy pitching things that are good ideas that we would never get to make, because they're usually like really high concept ideas or joke ideas inside of a pre-existing franchise, or something that that franchise absolutely should do and we know they won't do. Like the tagline of that show is "Hollywood, you cowards." And so that's kind of like the stuff that we're up to on YouTube, and it's a lot of laughs and a lot of hard work. So I definitely wanted to start off by saying all that. Everything else, Andy's right. We have a coming of age story for a dead girl that I've written. We have a movie about time freezing everywhere for everyone in the universe except for one woman. We have the horror movie about video games. We have two horror movies about video games, because I'm also working on something called Video Games Cause Violence, a love story. And then I'm working on another horror script, actually tentatively called Route Zero, and it's a horror movie where I realized while I was writing it that everybody in it is a gay man, and I'm really liking where that's going. I have a pilot that I'm working on that's about a guy who just starts getting texted by God, like literally just God starts texting him, and he's a troll. And so we're developing a bunch of little things. It's a quarantine, and so it's hard to make things move right now. And so we've got a lot of aspirational stuff and things that we're developing in case we get the opportunity to like legitimately pitch a studio or someone that could, help make things move. And while we're doing that, the YouTube show continues at a pace.
Yep. Those are a lot of... Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say that's a really good point, Tyler. The biggest issue we're hitting right now is money projects are getting made, passion projects can't, because a money project can make everything still work using the SAG guidelines for COVID, which are very, very, very strict. But just passion, sheer passion, you can't do a union shoot right now in the time of COVID with just passion. You actually have to have
and the money shoots right now, they still exist, but they are almost exclusively at this point reserved for franchises or people who have worked in those pre-existing franchises. Like you'll see an individual movie get made that's a passion project, that's kind of a quasi passion project, but everyone involved in it will have been on a Marvel project or a Star Wars or a Disney something, And so none of the things like 10 years ago, even when we were making things that could get made, can get made right now. So we're developing all of those things because we still have the ideas. We'd love to pitch those things or use those pitches as proof we could work on something more in that money vein, because we totally could. Like we have the talent and the experience and stuff. But while we're doing all of those things and kind of hoping something shakes loose, at least a YouTube channel is an excuse to get together, turn a camera on, have a good time, do some editing and some stuff that hones and continues our skills and things like that. And at least it's us kind of putting something out into the world until we start putting something out that we really want. Like we love the YouTube show. We have a great time, don't get me wrong, but for us, it's just a means to an end. But because it's a quarantine, what else are you going to do? Like we can't go anywhere. It's loosening up now. And so we'll see what that changes in the near future, but I don't expect much at first. And so we'll just keep pumping out the show.
Yeah. But it does sound like a lot of great projects you guys got going on. So for sure, just sounds just amazing. And I'm looking forward to some of them. So definitely keep the J Lounge up to date, because we definitely want to stay up to date with all you guys' projects. So
for sure.
But going on to the last question for you two gentlemen. So tying into the last question I just asked, kind of. But say you guys had an unlimited budget to make any dream film that you want. What dream film would that be? And what actors would you guys have in your film?
Oh my God.
Oh, unlimited budget?
Yes, to make your dream film with any actor.
Well, if I had an unlimited budget, I'd probably just be an executive producer and step back and let other people do all the hard stuff. Oh, that's rough. Because our ideas are scoped to lower budgets. We do have some big budget ideas, for sure, and a lot of our stuff can grow as the budget grows. But I don't know that I would want an unlimited budget for anything I've got on the back burner right now. I feel like an unlimited budget would mean I'd never actually finish it. But yeah, if I had to personally, if I had to pick a project for an unlimited budget, it would be the show that I wanted to work on 10 years ago, I think, roughly, called Reconstructing Steve, which I've talked to you about this, Tyler, but very briefly and a very long time ago. It's about a person found frozen, and an alien or future race, it's ambiguous on purpose, attempts to reconstruct humanity through media found from around that same time that they'd collected. They pull this guy out of the ice, kind of a Steve Carell character, and it's a clone. It's not the person himself. He's cloned as a baby and is raised, and then you show diametrically opposed. You show future Steve and the actual Steve, and you see how poorly their lives turn out due to bad decisions or whatever. It's supposed to be a comedy. It's supposed to be dark. It's supposed to be uplifting at the same time. That's one that I've always wanted to make that I don't know really how to do without a lot of budget. And as far as actors, it would have to be, like the child actor portion is utterly variable. That would change every year. So if it got made like literally right now, there are some great child actors out there who would be good for like a young version of that. But I couldn't tell you in a year who those would be. But ultimately, when it gets to the person himself, I always saw someone along the lines of like a Ryan Reynolds. If it goes more comedy, once you really get it going. That being said, it's also a movie where you could literally put a nobody in that role and might even be better to do. So I probably wouldn't waste the budget on a big name at that point. I probably want a nobody. And I don't mean a nobody in a derogatory sense. I mean a good actor, but who just doesn't really have a lot of recognition. I think I would want
somebody that. We'd make a somebody.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. We would Hayden Christensen that poor guy to death. No, we're not going to Hayden Christensen. But yeah, like I think that doing that movie would be what I would do if I had just an unlimited budget, and I would sit here and just pump millions of dollars into Tyler's writing to make sure that the script was good. And it would help us. So
yeah. Tyler, same question goes to you.
So it's a really hard question. I think the thing that I have written like already that would require the largest budget before it would even be possible, like Andy said, a lot of our stuff scales. So there are a bunch of ideas that we have that you could do for 50 grand. And then if you got a few $1 million, you could make it too, like, maybe better, but we kind of stay in a small scope mindset a lot of the time because we want to try to be able to accomplish the ideas that we work on. But there is a script, I mentioned it briefly before. It's called The Unrelenting Present, and it's about time freezing, and there's only one person that's not affected by it. So she's basically in a post-apocalypse, but the apocalypse that she lives in is the frozen moment of time that her friends and family are stuck in, and it's the truest relationship story that I've ever written, and it's a metaphor for the internet. But in order to do it, you have to like have the movie take place in a time frozen New York City, so it would require a budget. But I'd love to be able to make that. So like I guess that would be my answer in terms of stuff that we have like worked on or developed or written or talked about or whatever. But then if I really had unlimited money, I think I would just redo the Star Wars prequel trilogy, and just fight the lawsuits with the unlimited budget, because I could do it well. Or Zelda. I would love to make the Zelda movie. I would do a
oh
good
my
job
gosh, Zelda into a live action would be I think that would be just absolutely amazing.
So okay, so to nerd out about that for just like 1 second. In 2002, I wrote a treatment for how to do a Zelda movie, like a big epic Lord of the Rings with no slow motion-esque Zelda movie, and I've updated it a couple of times, but like I have had a vision of how to do a Zelda movie correctly for like 20 years. Like I know exactly how I would do it. I like I can't think of Andy, who would you cast as Link at this point? Tom Holland? I feel
Frank
like he's
Grant?
overplayed.
Yeah, Tom
I would say
Holland.
that, yeah, he was definitely overplayed maybe a little bit. Tom Holland is, yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
okay.
oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say, in the same vein, Andrew Garfield, but only if you're doing the cartoon, like, excuse me, Princess Link. If you're doing
Oh
that, Link,
no, yeah, I wouldn't do a comedy version. And also Andrew
I know
Garfield's like 87 years old now. Like
that's true.
he's
That's
way
true. He's
too old
older than
for
us
it.
now.
And I don't think that's true. I think he's still younger than me, but he's I even think that Tom Holland is maybe getting a little old for Link
Yeah.
at this point.
By the time we do it, that kid that plays Sweet Tooth, that's who I'd want. By the time we do it.
Okay. Yeah, it's a yeah. And then to plug our Your Lame Friend show just one more time, we have like I said, a show called Property versus Property, and we get two franchises, and we kind of have to like pitch the premise of a world or movie based on it. And the first one that we did was the Santa Claus, like the Tim Allen Santa Claus franchise, and the Highlander franchise had to be one universe. I would actually spend money to make the movie that we came up with because of that. It's absolute bonkers, madness, insanity. And I don't know if anybody would watch it. We'd have to spend part of that unlimited budget artificially inflating ticket sales. But it would be one of those genius things that stands the test of time. Actually, you know what? Scratch all of this. My answer is Gladiator 2. Nick Cave wrote a script for Gladiator 2 in the mid 2000s, and Russell Crowe fights every god and crawls his way from the afterlife back to the real world to become the emperor of everything. Like, it's absolute batshit nonsense. And that or the 101 Dalmatians sequel, the one where they become sentient gods, that the angels come down and make them all talk, and that was really written. So those are maybe now my answers.
Those are really a lot of great answers. You guys have a lot of movie ideas, and you guys have a limited budget of what you guys want to do. But hey, that's the beauty of creativity. You know, that's the beauty of filmmaking. So I do hope one day that you guys do get that budget to create a film that you guys have been working really hard on, and it comes into fruition to you guys. So hey, you know, never lose hope.
I just said thank you. If we could do something else, we would have by now. We're addicted to this. Like, we can't do anything else. I wrote my first book when I was like 12, and I haven't looked back. And this is all we can do, I think.
It's a terrible career filled with no money and heartache, but we love it.
Correct.
Hey, it's a passion, man. And like I said, never give up hope. You never know. Never say never. There's still a lot of unwritten chapters in our book of life. So you guys never know.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely going to speak that into fruition for you guys. My show's known to, you know, do that for people. So definitely speaking to this is for you guys. But I have appreciated talking with you two gentlemen. It's been an absolute pleasure. Like I said, I get so excited when I can connect with people from my hometown. It's not often that I do at all. I think you guys are probably like the third people I've connected from here. So since I started, so this is great. So I appreciate you guys being on here and giving you guys your time.
Thanks for having us, Simone. We really appreciate it. Reach out anytime. And like I said, there are quite a few people here, so, you know, keep poking. There certainly are voices in Port Orchard.
Of all places.
Love it. I know, of all places too. Thank you, Tyler. You took the words out of my mouth. Of all places, yes.
Of all places, yeah.
Well, like I said, I am super happy to be able to connect with you two gentlemen. Like I said, I'll definitely be message you guys within the next couple of days. Like I said, I got ideas I would like to go over with you guys, get your guys' opinions and thoughts, and
Sure, we're around.
yeah. Oh yeah. I now that I know that you guys are, again, I did not even know. So I'm super happy that, we connected. So I feel like this could be start of a beautiful friendship. So
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it was great to talk to you. Thanks so much for having us on. We really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun.
oh,
Yes, thank you.
absolutely. It was my pleasure speaking with you guys, honestly. Of course, you guys know I am your hostess with the mostest, Miss J, aka Miss Simone Jackson. I will be back with another great episode of the J Lounge here soon. I got a packed schedule of interviews. You guys definitely don't want to miss some. Definitely got a lot of people coming on here soon. So make sure you guys stay tuned for more. But until then, Port Orchard, please stay cool. We are reaching the hundreds today. It's going to be 111 tomorrow. Keep cool. Until then, bye.
Bye.